For more information and support, contact your nearest health worker. Call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500.
The Homes and Construction Expo is back. Are you looking for answers to your property and real estate development questions? Come and interact with experts in the industry, including architects, engineers, developers, interior designers, financiers, and more from 30th November to 1st December 2024. The expo will be at the Millennium Park, opposite Philip Omondi Stadium, under the theme Affordable Housing, Innovations and Technology. There will be captivating exhibitions and insightful discussions daily. Entrance is only 10,000 shillings per day. To book a stall, contact 0772 354 940. The Homes and Construction Expo is brought to you by New Vision.
The Association of Uganda Public Speakers brings to you the grand finale of the Young Orators Motivational Speaking Competition Season 4. Did you know it's better to build a hedge at the edge of a cliff than a hospital at its bottom? Oh yeah, that'll be the theme for this year's grand finale that will take place on World AIDS Day, 1st December 2024 at Makerere University Sedat Auditorium. Who will be the Young Orator of the Year? Will it be a student from Mengo SSS, Makerere College School, Standard High School Zana, Mita College Kawempe, Winston Standard Secondary School, or Wanyenge Girls Secondary School? Who will walk away with a cash award of 500,000? Encourage your teenager to be part of this event that will educate them, inform them, and give them precautionary measures against HIV/AIDS. Entrance fee is 20,000 shillings. For more information, contact 0772 181229 or 0703 194600. Time 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Peak of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't go low.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that.
Okay.
The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
I'm called Ezekiel Vanjikate. We are staying in Bisala village, that is in Luka district. This is a commercial agriculture farm purely run on a family basis. We are now concentrating on coffee, and we got that coffee in 2018 from Operation Wealth Creation. NADS gave us the solar water pump, which we are currently using to put up irrigation on the farm and be able to irrigate the coffee, which is sitting on a 30-acre area. What we're able to reap out of the coffee, we're able to sell it off and make an expansion, because with irrigation you can't go wrong, but be able to pick all around the whole year. And that's all income that will be coming in. On a special thanks goes to Operation Wealth Creation, to the district local government in Luka district that has also given us the support to supervise all the work that we have been doing. And finally, NADS that gave us the solar water pump.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
A lovely morning to you, and thank you so much for being with us this cold morning. I must say, in most parts of Kampala, it rained overnight, and indeed it's still cold. So in case you're coming to town, please carry yourself a cardigan, a sweater, something to keep you warm. And never know, even a raincoat. It may rain again. Uganda is a part of Africa gifted by nature. We have 2 rainy seasons, and our rains are this way. In some parts of the country, really people are not sleeping. Brothers and sisters in Katakwi, plus other areas. Here in Kampala, movement sometimes is hindered by the nature of our roads. Some of them, when it rains, it's disaster. But by and large, we are happy as a nation, because when it rains, we know our farmers are planting. Remember, majority of them depend on rainfall-fed agriculture. So if there is no rain, even you, a city dweller, you know the cost of buying food is going to go very, very high, and the cost of living becomes a problem. But we thank the Lord for the good rains. We only continue to pray that they are safe enough for all of us. Now, this morning, I'm going to be discussing something very interesting. That is, Uganda Tourism Board moved to crack down on unlicensed hotels. Now, many people are employed in the hotel sector, but government, because Uganda Tourism Board is part of government, comes up and says that 70% of the hotels we have in our country are not licensed. Now, what does that mean? Why aren't they licensed? And when they are given a 48-hour ultimatum to register, what is going to happen in case they go ahead and close these hotels? I was seeing some of the hotels, and I was even getting shocked that such a hotel is not licensed. What does it require for a hotel to be licensed? What are the benefits? And for me, a person who moves into this hotel to eat, licensed or not, also is another issue. So join me, welcome people who are in this sector. I have Moses Richard Mawuku, who is the General Secretary of Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union. You're most welcome, Moses.
Thank you, Robert. I want to take opportunity to also greet Ugandans and salute workers of this country, especially those that fall within the Uganda Hotels, Food, Tourism, Supermarkets and Allied Workers Union, for joining this program so as we can share our views on the issues at hand.
Then on the other side, I have Okello David Patrick, who is the Deputy Director, Planning and Operations at the Union. You're most welcome, Okello.
Thank you very much, Robert. It's a pleasure being here. It's my very first time. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank the workers of this country, most especially those under the hotel sector, for a very good job they are doing for this sector. Thank you very much.
Now, I want to start with you, Okello. When we talk about the hotel sector, some years back, it was almost eliminated by COVID-19. And sometime, Moses told me it is recovering. Now, even before you go any further, to date, how is this hospitality, hotel sector performing generally? Has it fully recovered?
Thank you, Robert. I can openly say not yet. We are still struggling with the effects of COVID, and some hotels have not yet fully recovered. And they are still operating with probably a half the number of the workers. Financially, they have not also recovered fully. So when we get a situation like this one where the UTB think of closing, then we are getting into another serious problem. Because these hotels are still struggling. And I think they should be given time to continue in the recovery process.
Now, Mauku, you're one of the people that advocates for the rights of workers in these hotels under this umbrella or under the union. Now, one of the things that really shook me is to know that 70% of these hotels, your employers, are not licensed. This is shocking. Why would we have this huge percentage of hotels not being licensed?
From the onset, I would say that all of us received this information with some bit of shock. But we are operating in Uganda, where things can happen in any form. If you ask yourself, why the 70% not licensed? Is UTB, has UTB been operating in Uganda or not?
It has been.
What have they been doing for these hotels not to secure licenses over the period of time they have been here? That is the first question. Why 70% while they are present? And it is their duty in law to ensure that these businesses get licenses. And now they are waking up one morning to give an ultimatum to hotel operators, secure licenses within 48 hours. 70% of the hotels that exist in Uganda. In the first instance, UTB has no such capacity to even implement their own directive. Some of these, the whole country has these hotels, right from Koboko to Bohoma in Windi, right from Swam, this side of Kenya, to Bundibujo. There are hotels spread all over. How many staff does UTB employ to implement this directive in 48 hours? It is just a laughable fact. They cannot. They don't have that capacity. Two is when you consider the fact that the hotels they are talking about have lived over even 30 years, even before UTB was created. UTB was created, it has been living with these hotels. Hotels don't even understand the mandate of UTB over hotels. There are many hotels which don't even know what relationship they have with UTB. But in the law, it is spelled out that UTB plays a certain function to promote these hotels for purposes of tourism development.
Yes, which it has done.
Well, it does to a certain extent, but does it inform or involve the key stakeholders, these very hotels? And if not, why have they not been licensed? UTB has the mandate and obligation to supervise tourism and hospitality facilities, to rate and classify hotels. Many, actually, maybe even more than 80% of the hotels have never been visited by UTB. Even visiting to understand the status. So I don't know how they have been doing their work, but we work with hotels in Uganda. We have not interacted, even us as leaders of the unions at national level, both as National Organization of Trade Unions and the sector union. We don't interact with them. But we understand some of these facts. So somehow,
but now,
while the directive is good and it is also legitimate, the implementation of this directive needs time. People need to be given time. People need to be given information. There is this problem of governments having laws and implementing laws that require them by policy to educate masses, and they don't. I want to wish that UTB is not doing this for purposes of collecting money, per se. Because licenses, for you to secure a license, you pay money.
Yes.
Is UTB doing its mandate for these businesses? people should not object to paying or securing licenses. But is UTB doing enough for these businesses under its mandate is the other bigger question.
Now, I want to bring in Okelo here. When you start any business, and we know ignorance of the law is no excuse. When you start any business, however small it is, you know you have to have a license.
That's true.
Operating, even if you just start a boutique around the street, this is in a makeshift, you have to pay a license. Now, you as a body that looks at first, the hotel sector is under you, the tourism sector is under you, and you want these workers, people in this industry, to excel to the maximum. There is an element of ignorance, like Moses has said. Where have you been, even before you go to Uganda Tourism Board, to ensure that the people, that your members, because I know a number of hotels are in this union, that your members are up to date with the right documentation?
Where have we been?
Yes. Because we carry out a number of sensitization workshops, have always in different parts of the country. But where have you been all this time?
Robert, thank you very much. These are two institutions. For your information, I would say UTB, under the laws of Uganda, is registered to do a certain mandate.
Very true.
HTS, on the other side, is also registered to do a certain mandate. As workers' representatives, we have done our part. And we've tried to sensitize workers as far as their rights, the place of work is concerned. So before UTB thought of this exercise, I think there was a need for UTB to engage together with certain partners like HTS, so that we avoid having collision in whatever area, so that workers are equally not affected. Because this exercise, 70% is a huge number. And if they are talking of closing hotels with a 70%, that's a very huge number. So we need to look at, one, how many hotels are those? Is there many? And before we talk about, after talking about the hotels, we move to workers. How many workers are those? Are we talking of? And then, how many families are those? So it is a very huge thing. So we've been doing our part, and we think we have done it, and we continue doing it, which exercise we have faithfully done it. We may have not reached a certain percentage, but have covered. As we shared before, we have been moving all over the country, and we moved in so many of these hotels. Yes, we also ask a question, why would these hotels not be licensed? And you know, there could be serious issues that need to be handled in that area. And there was a need to sensitize employers, hotel owners first, before you come with such an abrupt thing. There would be a need first to sensitize them to ensure that people comply. And people need to understand something first before they comply. Have they sensitized them? Have they refused? And those are questions that need to be addressed, Brother Robert.
Now, this brings me to Moses. When we talk about licensing, first, one would wonder what is the benefit of a hotel being licensed if it is not licensed? Because away from saying this is a constitutional obligation, that yes, you pay tax, the law is there, what benefits does a hotel stand? You talked even about classification, all these things, because they are required, but with people, if they don't understand, if I own my hotel and I have clients come, sleep over, eat the food, paying some taxes, local tax and all that, why would I think of licensing? Because we need to appreciate why we do certain things. And I think that makes it easier to comply.
It is a very important aspect for nationals to pay taxes. Very important and necessary and prudent. But as you are well aware, many people would wish to dodge taxation where they can, but it is a very good thing that we pay taxes, because there are so many, all these social services that we have. A hotel can be built, but it will be complaining about a bad road. And who fixes a bad road is the taxes that you pay. The medical facilities, education facilities, name them. And Uganda as a country has to run. And it runs on nobody's money but our own money, essentially. Much as we can also ask for some donations from outside, but basically it is our own money generated here locally through our GDP. So it is good and important to pay taxes, and those licenses all constitute to what goes into the consolidated fund of the government. However, I would wish to inform Ugandans listening that there are so many licenses and taxes that hotels actually pay. In most of the interactions we have had with hotel owners, they are complaining about the various taxes that are being paid by the hotel sector. If I can mention a few, hotels, besides these auxiliary taxes, like VAT, income tax, pay as you earn, NSSF, but there are licenses within a hotel that are so many. We were even thinking that these taxes needed to be consolidated. They would pay for a license for bar operation within a hotel.
Having a bar?
Yes, you again pay another license for operating a bar. When you have a swimming pool, you pay for another license.
For a swimming
pool? For the to operate a swimming pool. The same hotel. Then you are going to pay to local government several taxes. You pay ground rent, for
property tax,
hotel service tax. Then hotel, there are so many taxes that hotels are paying, and licenses. So many of these people don't even know that UTB also has another license that it is required. It is incumbent upon UTB itself to speak about this before they come to institute. Let them first inform their clients that there is this tax or there is this license that you need to secure. Give them ample time to secure those licenses. But when you come and say we are cracking down on hotels which are, and they are 70% of the total number, we are going to wait and see how they will get the 75% or 70% of the hotels actually secure these licenses in 48 hours. It is impossible. But what I can advise UTB is to take off some little money from their budget to inform Ugandans, not only hotels, that this license exists and must be paid for you to stay compliant. But coming out to only force people to pay for a license they didn't even know it exists is not a good scheme. But hotels per se actually pay a lot of taxes and licenses. That we are only praying that if government could either amalgamate them, consolidate them, and they reduce the number. There are too many for them. And the other thing is the proposal of closing. It wouldn't be right for them to even think like that, because they are, hotels are struggling even right now.
Sure.
Yes, hotels are still struggling.
The nightlife is booming. Tourism sector seems to be doing well. We are recovering, and we still have hotels.
The impacts of COVID-19, not only in Uganda, even in Nairobi here, when you go to Nairobi, there are many hotels which don't still operate 100%. They have closed many of the rooms, and they are still operating a certain percentage of the number of rooms that they have. Because even when you opened all the rooms at the same time, you are going to sell less than 40%. And yet you have the obligation and the cost of maintaining all of them. So even here, the average sale is still below 50%. The average sale of accommodation in Uganda is still below 50%. It is very few hotels which can sell more than 50% of their rooms annually. So when I say that hotels are still struggling with the effects of COVID-19, it is true. And UTB has a duty to continuously and effectively promote tourism. I was surprised when we had this conference in Munyonyo, beginning of year. Many people were impressed by the billboards which were placed on the express highway. Immediately the conference got finished, they pulled them down. And again, all those spaces, there are no adverts. If anything, it is UNRWA or MTN as usual, and they are not advertising on government roads where most of the tourists, where the dignitaries that come to Uganda pass. They pulled down those very beautiful adverts that they had pasted on the roads. So UTB has a duty, and we want to encourage UTB to effectively. They are doing some good work, yes, it's not enough. Recently, my colleague, the Secretary General of North, was in China, and they went to visit some of the stalls. They have an African square where they do adverts, and he was telling us in the meeting recently that when they went to the Ugandan stall, they were selling coffee from Kigali. Yes. So we still have some issues, surely. Some companies, some countries have taken time to spend more money in advertising for tourism. Here we are still having issues even in the promotion of tourism. They talked about local tourism,
domestic tourism,
but it has not taken root because it's about talking. They have not done deliberate activities that will see people move. We have been even making propositions, even to Uganda Wildlife Authority. One of the ways to promote this local tourism is through schools. When you ask that you are going to give, actually who has started doing this, they have days when they offer free entry into the parks. And if you do it through children, the children will, on TVs, and you tell people, even like in now the Christmas holiday, there is a free entry for children, school-going children. They will try to convince their parents to take them there.
Get the parents up to pay, then buy the eats, sleep in the accommodation.
So there are a number of things that we still have to do to ensure that we promote tourism in Uganda. It's not only about licensing. Much as licensing is good for purposes of compliance and also servicing the country's GDP, it is also necessary that we do the other things that actually promote tourism and talk to the people that are going to pay for this license. Not only to come and cramp on them and stop business. You are even going to discourage or affect the income of these very hotels if you close them. So the best would be to give them an ample time and also talk to them, and people get to understand the reasons and the value behind the licenses that they are paying. Even Revenue Authority, these days, not only these days, they were asked to always talk to the people, the clients that pay tax, so that they are not only forced to do something where they believe they don't benefit.
Now, Okello, when you still talk about the hotel sector, HTS advocates for the rights of people in this sector. More so, I don't know why, but I want to go on the side of workers. Today we are talking about the owners, because licensing a hotel may not so much be a duty of the workers, maybe the top managers who are going to run around, but those that own these hotels. When we look at issues of the workers, the employees themselves, how are we performing as far as having fair and better standards? Because when COVID-19 happened, there's a lot of strategies that came out to protect these workers. Are they still standing? We had some that went home, some that are working in shifts, and all this, because they must extend a service, but they also must be happy. One person lived in a hotel and he was telling me, he was a foreigner. He said, but why aren't your waiters, why aren't your, the smiles when you go to other hotels? I said, I think they are not happy. Maybe because of the terms under which they work. So how are we doing as far as attaining decency, respectful employment in this sector?
Thank you, Robert. As HTS, we are not where we were. We have also not reached where we're supposed to be. but we are progressing. For your information, there are so many hotels in this country. And if UTB comes and says they are trying to cramp on unlicensed hotels, they are also very right. Because in Uganda today, anybody can wake up in the morning and turn his house into a hotel.
Yes.
And today they're registered as a hotel, I mean maybe as a motel, another day it is a hotel, another day it's a resort, and you
A
can't,
restaurant.
a restaurant, and you can't really tell. I was in one of the districts in northern Uganda, and when we went to eat, outside on the billboard it's written a restaurant, but behind the restaurant there are rooms. So those are issues that we need to. So when we talk about terms and conditions of employment for workers, they are surely still wanting. And as I said, as HTS, we have done our level best, and we still continue to do. We've not covered all hotels in the country because of their size. I mean, there are many. But in some hotels where we've been as a union, we have tried to improve the conditions and services of the workers. You find some of these hotels that where there is no union, they are surely, you find workers working from morning. Somebody reports from 7 o'clock and leaves at midnight. And they also work 7 days a week. And we are saying that is wrong. And as workers also, we need to get to know our rights at the place of work. But also considering the level of unemployment in this country, some people are forced to compromise and say, for the sake of survival, let me remain here. But not knowing that you're affecting your future. So as HTS, we have tried to advance, advocate and protect and promote the rights of workers in the hotel sector. But there are still so many hotels that we have not reached. And with the time, we'll get there. And those who have, where we are, surely conditions have improved. Yes, it is not only about a salary, but it's about terms and conditions of employment. And if UTB comes with this hammer to try to close, then they are adding more injury. As per now, most of these hotels have not yet recovered, as I said in the beginning. And they are still working with half of the staffing, or if not 75%. They have not yet gone back to 100% staffing. And therefore, even the terms and of conditions of employment have not yet gone back to 100%. So we are still addressing the issues of COVID-19. And now we are getting into another problem. As regulators or workers advocates in this sector, it is really becoming too much, and we are worried. 70% is a very big number. We are still fighting with this. We are still trying to harmonize this. Now this one has come. So it's definitely going to affect even the terms and conditions of employment for so many workers. But as union, we will continue, as usual, to advance, advocate, protect, and defend the rights of workers where we have reached. Where we have not reached, we'll surely get there. Thank you.
And when we come back from this break, we shall also look at the rights of workers, where URA is moving to tax food that is given to staff. And more so, they look at the hotel sector, where they believe that some hotels are lying to them, that they are serving their workers food that they actually serve to their clients, and the element of VAT here, there is a loss that URA is facing in terms of collecting taxation. But let's go for a very short break. When we return, Moses and Okello and I, we are still here and looking deep into matters affecting the hotel sector, more so now that those that are not licensed, well, they just have few hours to ensure that they get that license from the Uganda Tourism Board or risk being closed.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
I'm called Ezekiel Kate. We are staying in Visala village that is in Luka district. This is a commercial agriculture farm purely run on a family basis. We are now concentrating on coffee, and we got that coffee in 2018 from Operation Wealth Creation. NADS gave us the solar water pump, which we are currently using to put up irrigation on the farm and be able to irrigate the coffee, which is sitting on a 30-acre area. What we're able to reap out of the coffee, we're able to sell it off and make an expansion, because with irrigation you can't go wrong, but be able to pick all around the whole year. And that's all income that will be coming in. On a special thanks goes to Operation Wealth Creation, to the district local government in Luka district that has also given us the support to supervise all the work that we have been doing. And finally, NADS that gave us the solar water pump.
As Gulu District Farm Association, in two districts of Omoro and Gulu, 14,300 farmers benefited from this project, whereby if you go to that link of Gulu District Farm Association, you have all the details of the number of farmers who have been benefiting from this project. One thing Gulu District Farm Association benefited from this project called Prelno, it has strengthened the extension system of the DFA, or the Gulu District Farmers Association, whereby there were capacity building of each of the staff, the one in Gulu, the one in Omoro. Before this farmer group, I also benefited from this project, whereby, particularly for me, the other achievement I made, because in fact, I think all in all, I'm being, I could say, the luckiest, to me particularly in my achievement, because I finished my university in 2020. Immediately I came for Prelno. So I understood every structure, what's all about in Prelno, whereby I had to achieve. I constructed also a house home. I also had a bull, whereby they hope my museum from home for plowing. So that's briefly what I can say. Thank you so much.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break, and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Robert Chirabo Nyonyiton, and with me I have Moses Mauku, Richard, and also Okello David Patrick. These are from the Uganda, one would say, hotels, foods, tourism, supermarkets, and allied workers, HTS union that brings together people in this sector. It's a union that brings together people in the hotel sector, in the supermarkets, in the food sector and tourism sector. So they are members of this union, and that's where they're coming from as we are discussing the move by Uganda Tourism Board to crack down on unlicensed hotels, and also see how best can we ensure that this sector that is already having issues as a result of COVID-19 does not again be hit by another wave of shock, but also complies with the laws of this country. because this is something that they must fulfill. It's not a discussable, it is something that they must. Getting a license to operate, to carry out, is a mandate for any business in this country. And this is backed by law. But how do we ensure that there is some money as we get to that? More so if 70% of these are not licensed in our country. Now, before I went for a break, Moses went to say something on standards. I don't know if standards match with the license. If getting a license, they first inspect me, all these. But, well, take it on.
Okay, thank you, Robert. I wanted to make mention about the standards, which is one of the issues that should be looked into by UTB. When people, when businesses secure licenses, it is important and necessary that we also consider the standards for these businesses that we are licensing. You know, we have had this problem for a long time of having compromised or inadequate standards in most of our hotel facilities. Guests, both international and local, complain about the services. But as we move towards licensing, securing licenses and other legal alignments within the tourism sector, it is very important that we focus on the standards. You also made mention of the fact that very many people have said that our hotel workers don't offer the best as compared to other places or between different hotels. It is a reality.
And at what time? One time the hotel sector is even dominated by workers who are not Ugandans.
Actually, up to now, we still have that problems where the hotel owners here think that it is better to employ managers from Kenya. Yet we have our own institute here in Jinja, the Crested Crane Training Institute, which has been under construction for about 10 years now. You even wonder what the construction people are doing for all that time they have not completed. We have half-baked graduates or professions that qualify from various institutions that teach or train people to become hoteliers. I have had a chance in the last 3 years. I've been a member of the Industrial Training Council, and I got opportunity to go and inspect where these institutions train our people that come and serve in the hotels and also in other disciplines. You cannot believe what you see there. The equipment these institutions are using to train and test the people that are coming to work are laughable. But those are the people that we have in the hotels as the professionals. Their training was very inadequate, extremely inadequate. It's about time. You go and attend school for 2 years and get a diploma or a certificate. So you have become a professional. But using very inadequate equipment, because most of these things under liberalization, somebody opens a training institution in his sitting room. And the Ministry of Education licenses. There are many, you can't even believe it is a school. It was somebody's home which was turned into a school. It is the one producing people to work at Sheraton, to work in Serena. Several, in all districts everywhere, you will find these institutions. And they are licensed
and that
by the Ministry of Education.
Hotel, self-trained hotel management, hotel.
They have all sorts of names, training people to come and offer services. So the problem starts with the ministry or government that produces or allows institutions that are not qualifying. They may be licensed, but the services or the training they offer is so inadequate. But because somebody has lived the time they have set in their curriculum, 1 year, get a certificate. That person is a cook. But the utensils they are using to trade test this person, when he comes to a bigger hotel, she gets stuck with what he sees. It is like a person who has never even gone through any training. So we have issues with the institutions themselves. that train these children to come and work. Two, if you want to have good standards, have good institutions to set, to train people on standards. The hotels business in Uganda today, I will tell you that 70% of the politicians and the technocrats in governments own hotels. They forget that a hotel is a professional business. There is one man here who failed in hotel business. Everybody thinks that you can run a hotel. Anybody who gets money builds a hotel, a lodge, a motel, those facilities. I'm telling you, many are grassing, they don't even get money. They don't even run profitable businesses because they don't run this business as professional businesses. There is no in-house training. Those who worked with Uganda hotels would tell you how things are done. A few hotels have maintained that in-house training where a staff does not even start work before briefing on the day's business. But here people, I am an MP, I have money to build a hotel, it is there the following day. No professional touch at all, but he has his rooms. They run while new for about 2, 3, 4 years, and he has no business. So these things are happening. So we need to inform Ugandans that some of these businesses that are professional, allow the professionals to manage them for them. It is more to do with the nepotism. You have a hotel, you look for a brother to manage who has never been a hotelier. But because he has a degree in education, you think his degree in education is going to run a hotel.
Someone tells you what is so hard to cook food,
yes.
serve food,
and that is
people
what
are sleeping very well.
I'm telling you in Kampala here, somebody came and started 6 hotels in 1 year. 6, a chain of hotels. I even worked with that person. In 4 years, all the hotels collapsed because he was not attaching professionalism. And he would himself come and say, what is wrong with picking food which is cooked the other side and put on the table for me to eat? And he thought he was running hotels. We told him, you will fail. He failed in 4 years. All the 6 hotels closed up to now. And he has run away from those hotels. You get, so there is lack of professionalism. The services are actually inadequate because the training of the people who are offering these services is equally inadequate. The institutions themselves where they train are inadequate. So the Ministry of Tourism, UTB, Ministry of Education, there is that discussion, the intergovernmental, and those of us who operate with them, so that we have discussions about these things. But sometimes when they are doing their policy, it's about technocrats who are not professionals setting standards. Even people who work in the tourism ministry are not hoteliers. They are not. Why don't they consult with the hoteliers? Most of the people owning hotels are actually not hoteliers by profession.
Yes, businessmen.
They are just businessmen. But when they talk to UHOA, they think everything is done. UHOA itself, Uganda Hotel Owners Association, it is full of business people, not professionals. They are forgetting professionalism within this profession, in the management and administration of this profession. So we are getting a lot of issues. We need a discussion with government agencies that are managing the tourism sector. All of us can make contributions. It's not a one-man show. So what I want to conclude with on that issue is, as government, we need to have deliberate actions or mechanisms to improve on the training of the persons that come into, and also to have discussions with the stakeholders to agree and understand that the businesses that we are opening as people who have money is a professional business, and therefore allow professional people to operate them for us, not only our families.
Well, very interesting. Allow professional people to operate. Time is running, and we must be out of here. But Okello, there's something that really caught my attention still regarding issues surrounding hotels, where Uganda Revenue Authority plans to tax food consumed by workers. And one of the areas they looked at is the hotel sector, saying government is losing a lot of money because there are claims that the food being served is the food being given to the staff. Yet in terms of value-added tax, someone goes back and claims that as monies because this food went to staff. And at the end of the day, we are losing tax. First, is it true that food served? Because I don't think this, I want to believe maybe URA is 100% true here. Because you've advocated for these people, workers in these hotels, you know the circumstances they go through, and here we are. URA seems to have discovered a spot where we can get more of our revenue.
Thank you, Robert. I think, truthfully speaking, yes, we have advocated for some of these items for the workers. But how many of these workers are surely eating that food? There is always a menu for the staff. And there is also a cost per staff. So I think if Revenue Authority says they have discovered something, I don't want to say it is true, and I don't want to say it's a lie. But it could be true. Because if hotel owners surely think that the food they are serving to their clients is the same food the workers are eating, I think that is a lie. We've been to some of these hotels where you find workers are fed with either portion beans from Monday to Monday. So if such a person goes to Revenue Authority and says, I am claiming because what my workers ate is the same as what the guests ate, I think that's wrong. And I think that's things to do with, I don't want to call it corruption. Yeah.
Moses, on this as we wind up.
For me, from what I have heard URA stating is the fact that employers are making claims of VAT.
Yes.
Because of the food that is eaten by the staff, that is the same as the food eaten by the guests. It's both true and not true. I must tell you that in some hotels, the managers eat from the menu of the visitors, of the guests. The managers, the senior managers, the junior managers never. It is even a crime for a staff to eat. Even in the collective bargaining agreements we have, some of them make it an offense for a junior staff to eat guests' food. I have agreements to that effect. But some managers are allowed to eat from, so even managers are staff. So when they claim money, they could be right, because the managers actually eat from the same menu as for the guests. But majority of the staff who are junior never tasted that food, unless with the express permission and for good reason. So I wanted to, you see, when you read the income, the Income Tax Act, you sometimes tend to believe that the lawmakers are insincere. We as workers' unions, we tried to push for a long time, and workers, each time you are meeting workers, the workers' claim is, can't these pay as you earn reduce? So we have on many occasions and for several years been trying to push the government to ensure that we raise the threshold. You know, it is in Uganda here where an investor comes, an investor from China or from India, and deceives government. I am going to offer 500 jobs in Uganda. And out of the 500, 100 are people from the native country. Either Chinese of the 500 people are Chinese. I mean, the total number. Then Ugandans who are given contract jobs are less than 50. Majority of these employees are casual employees who do not pay as you earn, who do not subscribe to National Social Security Fund. So they are doing a precarious job that is even useless to them. They just waste time. Go and attend, go back home and sleep, come back tomorrow. You can't save. Those are the majority of the jobs that we have here from the so-called investors that we have here. People only go there to be enslaved in a modern way. We have been making movements around the industrial parks with the Minister for Labor. What we have identified, what we have observed in these industrial parks is alarming. The conditions under people, Ugandans are working there, is alarming. So when they talk about taxation all the time, they want to secure more money easily from the employer and from the worker. There are also many other things that they need to address themselves too. Does this investor offer jobs that make a contribution to the GDP by the employee? Because if an investor comes and offers 500 jobs, but only 50 pay as you earn, only 50 can contribute to NSSF, that investor is not good. And he has paraded a lie to government, but they are allowed and they are given a lot of security by military. Those people who are enslaving Ugandans. They are given military escorts, investors.
I've seen a number.
And we are even wondering,
police personnel.
what type of security should an investor get? Why military, not even police, but military?
I've seen those
in many companies, you enter into a hotel, everywhere there are guns. In a hotel.
I've not seen that.
I have seen, even this week. I've been to a hotel which is guarded everywhere, even inside offices. There are guns on the table.
Now, how does that attract people to come to that hotel?
So you wonder.
Definitely, that can't. Practically,
and if
why would I move in a hotel?
Wants me to
like
prove,
that?
I will take him to that hotel. And you see guns in most of the offices. These are our investors here. So I think there are certain things that government need to rethink and review. Taxes, fine. It is good to pay taxes. I was reading Section 19 of the Income Tax Act require that an employee who has served for 10 years and above with the same employer, upon retirement, his or her terminal benefits should be charged 75% of pay as you earn. Very few. And they don't mention this. They are eating people's money. The companies don't know when they are paying people terminal benefits, they charge pay as you earn 100%. URA is aware. It does not say, please don't do this. Until one time we found out we were paying gratuity for Uganda Golf Club. Then somehow in reading those we identified that there is a problem. So we made them to pay back that money. But how many companies have done that? They don't inform Ugandans that we have been cheating you. They continue to cheat that money from Ugandans against and they are aware. But now they are looking for even food that people eat. Should be charged or should not be claimed. There are managers who eat that food, so let them claim. It is right. Though they may not necessarily have to claim for those who don't eat it. So that is what I would submit.
Well, Moses is very passionate when you're discussing issues regarding the hotel sector, and so is Okedo. And unfortunately, time has run out. We have to leave room for more broadcasts to continue and programs to continue. But it is very interesting knowing that now, if you own a hotel, and when you talk about a hotel, the definition and the classification, we've not dived deep into that, please ensure you go and get that license. Go and get licensed. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse, and now you're aware. Go to Uganda Tourism Board, have your license, work knowing that now all the legal requirements for you to operate, you have had them. And for those that own hotels, please When your staff are well motivated, it works in your favor. So let them have decent work and meaningful employment. Have the best of your day. See you tomorrow, God willing.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
The Ministry of Health informs the general public that there are some cases of Mpox detected in Uganda. The ministry, working with partners and affected district local governments, are doing their best to contain the situation. The signs and symptoms of Mpox are body rash, fever, general body weakness, headache, sore throat, nasal congestion or cough, and swollen lymph nodes. You can prevent yourself from getting infected with Mpox by avoiding close contact with people who have been confirmed to have Mpox or who have signs and symptoms of Mpox. Avoiding touching or sharing personal items like beddings, eating utensils, phones, or other belongings of a person who has the signs and symptoms of Mpox. Avoiding contact, including eating, with all wild animals, alive or dead, especially those known to carry the virus, such as rodents and monkeys, and those that appear sick or have been found dead. Getting vaccinated if you're among those who have been identified to be at high risk of Mpox infection. Mpox is treatable and usually goes away after 2 to 4 weeks. However, it can be severe, causing even death, especially among children, pregnant women, and those with other health conditions. For more information and support, contact your nearest health worker. Call the Ministry of Health's toll-free line on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500.